Hi-oh, beaver! Away!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Critscast. We have for you a battle of the Titans tonight. No, it's not one of the top teams. It is the battle of the bottom of the table, and we're battling for something different today. Not playoffs, not positions. We're battling for pride, as both of these teams currently sit on 0 points, and they do not want to go down in history as only the second team in history of 20 seasons of ETF2L to have not got a point in the Premiership division. In one corner, we have Multinational, Massacre, Reborn, MMR, and the other, we have The Spy. I'm CeeJaey, and I'm joined by ArchRhythm on the production, and the one, the only Mr. Critscast himself, Agro. How are you doing today? Are you excited for some Highlander?
I'm excited to see these two teams play. Thank you very much for the introduction there, CeeJaey. It is, as I'm sure you promised, going to be amazing. There's nothing quite as wonderful as seeing a bunch of small baby wolves with their backs against the walls.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, just for some perspective, as we've gone live now, we are going to be playing on CP Steel, the only team to have never got a point, a singular point, in the history of a Premiership season. In 20 seasons has been the team UKIP back in Season 8. They finished the season without a single point, 0. That's the only time that has ever happened. The closest to that was Tourette's Chess Club, actually, back in Season 17, when they got 1 point. Both these teams currently sitting on 0. Now, there is a chance that they can both get points and both, avoid that fate. Humiliation, yes. was trying not to twist the knife, perhaps. But yeah, on one side we have MMR. We've got Canlock on Scout, Tim on Soldier, Sis on Pyro, Deli69 on Demo, Buck, Team Leader on the Heavy, Honjo on Engineer, Trum on Medic, Madza is going to be on Sniper, and Psycho on Spy. While on the Spy, we have Qua on Scout, Hugo on Soldier, V-Clocks on Pyro, Joseph on Demo, Extra Solar on Heavy, Salvio on Engineer, Poi on Medic, James on Sniper, and Null, who is murking on Spy, formerly known as Hard, one of the top spies back in his day. So a very British-dominated team here, Agro, against sort of a mixed team here, a mixture of nationalities, I should say. Of course, it's Steel, so we got some downtime because no one defends A.
Yeah, very confusing having an entire team called Spy, but I think we can actually get away with calling them like 15 exclamation marks, since that seems to be the majority of the name made up there. I'm a little bit disappointed to see V-Clocks, the Wanderers, the almost inhumanely capable V-Clocks, on a team with so little points. I feel like I've been lied to by the media.
V-Clocks is, he's a perennial runner-up. Unfortunately, he's got so many second-place medals for both Copenhagen lands, for Premiership. He currently not playing on a top team, but I think it's more of the case of looking for teams. We do have other players here who have played relatively high, and Null was on a top team back in his day, as we do see Ubers used here aggressively, and then defensively coming in. The Spy are trying to chase out these players. They've lost Extra Solar. Sis has gone down for MMR though, and without a Pirate it might be hard for them to be pushed. And look at V-Clocks, just comes in behind, does a ton of damage, doesn't die, he gets out, and Deli's trying to re-push here. Null takes a bit of a distraction, and I do think with that backstab onto Joseph, MMR might be able to take this B point.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw the nice little cute little fleck there by V-Clocks as well, just even as he's running away to get a bit more health. Unstoppable human being is all I can say, and a fantastic drinker. If you're listening out there later to this, V-Clocks, even, I miss you dearly. I'll see you at Copenhagen Games.
Yes, we'll see if we can see you Jetpack today. He is known as Mr. Jetpack, really, isn't he? Very good with that weapon.
He's the spaceman.
He is the spaceman, wants to reach the moon. And actually, take a look right now. Deli's the one who's jumping through the sky going forward. And V-Clocks jumps up and actually gets the force onto Trum. And he's pushing people away. He's just causing havoc. Sis is going to finish him. But that does mean Poi is going to have an advantage on the defense here. And they're actually trying to get aggressive. Extra Solar versus Buck is the battle of the casters. And Extra Solar wins out that time. We've got to be careful here. Tim is hiding on the cliff, just throwing some rockets, just letting people know he's there, and he's actually jumping forward. And I'm not sure if people are going to be aware if he's going to be able to. He might be able to take down V-Clocks, but doesn't want to 1v1 a Pyro when you've only got rockets. That's a smart decision. He's on to Poi! Poi drop!
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he made the right choice. Backing away from V-Clocks is always a good idea. I feel like this is the V-Clocks appreciation channel for a moment there. But yeah, he found himself in just a ridiculously wonderful situation of being up against an almost completely unhinged, undefended medic. Speaking of undefended medics, I thought we were going to see something awesome from Null then, but we did not. He sort of approached a medic and kind of like decided not to go for it.
I feel so bad for Py there as a medic main myself. He took 2 rockets and he had enough HP to survive.
Pit! Sorry.
Who was in the pit? Salvio? Oh no.
Engineer just decided that was it. Don't want this fight. Don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to dive in this pit. It's the only safe thing to do.
Trump's actually gone down there. Trump, the medic, just went down to V-Clocks. He just barreled in onto the point, and it's just a bit of a DM fest right now. Canlock can't get the cap. Hugo actually takes down the scout, trying to get that C point, and it's so tantalizingly close, as you can see. But they can't strong. I was just saying about Py there. He was down to, I think, about 1 HP. Wow. And you know, when you kind of try to count the rockets of the enemy soldier in your head, you think someone's going to kill this soldier before he reloads and gets that extra rocket off. But no one was able to. We kind of reverted to where we were before. Py does have that advantage again, 90% Trump, down to about 35. Delhi's gone down to a backstab. There is a bit of pressure on the E point. It's Canlock's trying to be a bit annoying and just get some pressure on a different point. But it does look like Salrio, who did fall into the pit, is now got a level 1 blocking that point and kind of just seeing what MMR can do, pressuring C here.
Well, this is the universal strat is to split the enemy team, regardless whether you're attacking or defending. Make sure that there's not no one team can be like in its entirety in one place at any one time. Otherwise, what are you going to do? There's no way of attacking or defending against that. So the movement seems to be, the transition here seems to be that this blue team is moving towards trying to attack C wholeheartedly, throwing themselves at C rather than splitting attention in this moment.
They did just lose their medic though. Py was 100% Uber, and I'm not sure. I couldn't really tell if Delhi was just spamming the stickies or if there was a cheeky trap or something underneath the grate. But he takes down Py with 100% Uber, and that does mean that Trum now has 100% a huge advantage. That is unless Agro he drops to James.
Yep.
So it's been a while since we saw an Uber.
It really has. It's been a very long time. James just perfectly arrived at exactly the right moment. Got that little headshot in, and that was all that was completely necessary in order to be disruptive.
Yeah, and actually MMR were trying to go for E point. Oh no, Hugo! Can he jump out of the pit? Hugo, he gets shot. No! Matza with the SMG takes him down, and James, while all of that was going on, gets the kill on to the medic as well, and he's on a 4K right now. He's doing his best trying to block this E point, and MMR, despite getting a lot of pressure on the E point, then decided to go for C, which is pretty good opportunity. Gets those bridges out, gets more people able to get onto that E point. And now they're trying to force themselves onto E. They've got some good position here. Buck in heaven. Tim Tam trying to lock down the spawns, and Delhi getting some spam out. This is looking really good for them right now.
Absolutely. They're holding very nicely on this last point. I mean, far be it from me to say anything differently, like they should be going for D or anything else. They kind of ignored that tactic completely and just hanging out here. Although there is a bit of a raging Tormentor fight going on to actually hold E, but I think they've got it. They have indeed.
I mean, the big issue there was that the Spy were trying to defend it from one place there. They were trying to defend it from one angle. There are so many... The thing about Steel, and we saw, how many drops in that game? 3? 4? Something like that? It's really hard to predict what's going on around the corner. There's so many places where people can get behind, people can hide, and there's so many places. You've got the BC connector, you've got the AE connector, you've got the E side, you've got sewer or toilet, whatever you call it, so many different angles, and everyone decided to come through the same angle, and they just took a face full of bullets from a wrangled sentry, so many pipes from Delhi. Everyone just got mulched as they tried to come through, and the Spy were just happily sitting on the point and managed to get the cap.
Yeah, 6.5 minutes or just over. That's a fairly reasonable time to do this. And it kind of, I think it's going to force their hands. I think that they're now going to have to look at pushing, doing almost the same tactics, prioritizing E over and above everything else. Maybe they're throwing someone on there from the very beginning. as opposed to kind of taking their time and working their way through the points. This is the real advantage in terms of going first. If you can set a good time, you can set the pace entirely for the rest of this game.
Absolutely, and that's the thing about attacking first. You set that time, and you do potentially put a lot of pressure onto the team that has to beat that time afterwards. We do see a ton of people go down there, trying to go in for those suicides and not really getting much done. Both heavies still down for the time being. He's Clash of the Casters here, Agro. I mean, you got to potentially pick sides here. We can come back to that later as the Ubers come in. No heavies, and Joseph gets taken down. He gets dropped under the Uber.
Yeah, I was really hoping we didn't actually have to pick sides. There's a lot of favourites, possibilities, and hurt feelings to be had from this, with both Buck and Extra Solar being represented. No, I don't want to make that decision not while I'm live on stream. I've got my own opinions.
We do see basically the team's just resetting here. Trum with a bit of an Uber advantage, about 30%. So pretty good. James does get the pick onto Matza, and that's really interesting. They get the pick onto the sniper, and everyone from MMR have just backed up so far back. And
that's weird.
Wow, they're just losing players. It's like they've just they're the fish putting themselves into a barrel. Agro. They just said, hey, we're now in a really tiny choke. Take all of this space and shoot us.
Yeah, absolutely. It did not the right or even logical reasoning on that. I mean, it's almost as if they lost their medic. I think they got the medic and the sniper classes confused for a moment then. There was no reason for them to decide that this was a point worth giving up. They have still got time, but it's a very weird thing. Not only do they lose the kind of the points, but they lose momentum. And they give the opposition an opportunity to feel good about themselves.
They used an Uber there as well, and they didn't get much done with it. Poi now has 100% charge, takes a little bit of damage, has to be careful there. Nice reflex coming out from both Pyros, just pushing the rockets and the players out of the way. Poi still has that charge, and this does mean that the Spy may be able to use this charge. If they can take this through onto C, 4:20 left on the clock, they still have plenty of time. They are going to come in. V-Clocks gets taken down, though. Matza with a huge pick. Deli's gone down for MMR. And we do have plenty of people, but look at Trum, 95%, so close. This is going to jump forward. Gets a lot of damage down to people on the point. That Uber is going to come in now, and they should be able to clean them up, blocking that cap. Almost a mirror image, Agro, of what we saw in the previous round.
Possibly, although, I mean, they've stopped, yeah, sure, they've absolutely stopped that capture taking place. There was a beautiful moment of aggression that came out of that, and I don't know that I felt really comfortable about seeing what I'm seeing at the moment. The clock isn't going the way that they want it to do, and I think you're right. I think that was a clever and cunning and solid move they made.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't agree with them backing out on the B point, but they've adapted and they've played this point really well. So if a big jump in from Hugo, but the reflect from Sis is going to make sure that their medic doesn't die, but so much spam coming from him. James, Qua, and Joseph just following up and getting the kills, and they've managed to take down the sniper and the demo. Deli and Matza are down, and it's really, really hard to defend this point without. They're trying to use the Uber again. They're leading with Sis. They take down V-Clock. Sis is on a 6 kill streak. He jumps forward and should be able to take down Joseph here. Some reflex. He's still behind. I'm not sure if they're aware. He gets piped. How'd you forget the demo's there? But he does get taken down by Buck. And Trum lives to fight another day, but so does Poi. And now Agro, he has a huge advantage.
I could have sworn for a moment that I saw that last pill come out of a sewer pipe as opposed to, or coming out of a wall. Rather, it did seem to emerge from nowhere. Uber has been deployed now. This C point has got to be theirs for the taking. And that should put them in good stead. I think they're going to do that transition from C through to D, maybe, and really lock things down. No, I think they're going the other way. They appear to be going back towards E. They're going to ignore D altogether and just go straight for the point.
That's a smart decision. As long as the demo man's up, that corridor is known as Death Corridor, because you go through there's so many places for stickies, so many places for spam. You will not get through there without taking either a ton of casualties or a ton of damage. So they've made the right decision to try and push through BC connector here. But you take a look at where MMR are. They are very, very passive in this heaven area. They've got most of their team here, but Psycho managed to get James down. down. So without a sniper, they are able to have a little bit more maneuverability. Extra Solar's the furthest one forward, but even he can't get much done in the stairs. And with both teams on Uber, this is all going to come down to mistakes. Who's going to slip into the pit? Who's going to... Extra Solar actually taunting, maybe to get a bit of vision above him, as the Ubers are going to be used on point.
Yep, Joseph slipped into the pit. I think V-Clocks came very near to going down as well. I think what you were saying before about waiting for mistakes, they definitely happened in those last few moments.
Yeah, that's something small as that can really change the tide of this fight.
So both medics seem to be up, but the clock is really ticking down now. If there's going to be a move, it's going to happen in the next 30 seconds. Otherwise, this is a very clear and solid win.
Yeah, and with a level 3 sentry, a heavy, and a demo, all just sort of tanking damage there, with a medic, with a pyro to defend from those stickies. It's just like a massive wall here. You know, Trump could learn a thing or two. I mean, it's just so hard to get through this barrier that, you know, the Spy need to go through a totally different angle. They're trying to go through BC Connector and they're just getting spammed out. Joseph gets taken down. They just cannot get in. Hugo's underneath and can maybe go for a jump, but it needs to be synced with other people. And they've run out of time, Agro.
Yeah, I was looking to see if James was going to go up to the sniper deck, but I mean, he's a long way out of position right now. The Uber has popped in. They're pushing to get out the point on the clock. Maybe they can get something done. I don't think so. Vitality Uber has come out, and the time is just going to tick out for them. There's not enough here. There's not enough time for them to play with, and not enough space for them to muck around in. This is a very unfortunate and sorrowful state to be in.
Oh, and a pit. Deli falls. Oh, I think Deli threw himself into the pit there. I think
submitted his loins to the god of the pit.
Why did you have to bring loins into it, man?
I'm not sure I know what they are. Something to do with bacon, as far as I'm aware.
Yes, let's roll with sacrificing the loins to the pit god for further luck on steel. Yeah, it was really strange there. We are readying up very, very quickly. I think both teams just want to get on with this, but MMR taking that first round, it seemed really strange because I felt the Spy were doing some really good work, and there was a moment where they had about 2 minutes left on the clock after they'd captured C, and they went through, and I was saying they made the right decision, but as soon as they realized there was that massive roadblock, it's really easily counterable. It really is, because if you put 6, 7 people of your strongest classes in that one position, that obviously leaves a lot of doors open for you. And the smart decision would have been to rotate through that corridor, go all the way around to D, and then you would have been able to attack from 2-3 different angles. And Hugo was waiting in sort of the sewer toilet area. He could have jumped up, but he was kind of waiting for someone else to initiate. If someone else does something and then he jumps up, he can get so much done there. But if everyone else is just stood in the same place, makes it very difficult. But, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it kind of gives me the impression that MMR, they've practiced this map. I mean, I think maybe they're taking it a little bit more seriously. Like, they don't want to be the zero-pointer here. And I think they have an opportunity not just to get themselves off zero, but actually to humiliate another team. And who doesn't love a good bit of humiliation?
It's been pointed out as well that, remember that team that I said had 0 points in the past? There was a person on that team who's currently playing in this game.
Oh God, don't tell me.
It was Joseph. It was Yak. So at the moment, MMR have at least 2 points. But the Spy need to win a round here. They need to win this round in order to get 2 points. They need to get that round, 2 points on the board. And I think both teams will kind of have a bit of a sigh of relief there. And a big aggressive Uber here coming on to Joseph. So much spam onto the sentry. The sap synchronized comes in as well. Takes it down. A lot of players dying here. Poi actually, it looked like he died when he had Uber. That was...
impossible?
Did he? Yeah, I don't know if that was a bug on my screen. It looked like he just died in midair while he had Uber. But I mean, they do a lot of damage.
I mean,
so
there's a limit to the amount of damage you can do. Where surely Uber negates all damage, but I'm sure there must have been some sort of technicality that we're both missing out on there.
Oh, actually, Joseph with the kill onto Madsa takes down the sniper. So this B point is now going to be well and truly in the hands of the Spy. And it sounds strange. Yeah, it's strange to say that.
I'm glad to see that Null is on the point capping as well. That's our refuge.
Actually, because of the way that Steel works, the attacking team gets faster respawns than the defending team, and the more points you have captured, the faster your respawns are. And because of all of that, boring technicality stuff, Poi now has this huge advantage over Trum. It's about 20-30%, so if they decide to push on the dot here through BC, they may be able to capture some people out, and that could lead to a bit of a domino situation. So we'll see what happens here, as the Uber is going to be used. Sis is doing the grand job of pushing them away, but can't actually stop it at all. 90% onto Trum. He's being flooded by people. Is he going to survive? He gets it.
Absolutely, that was a weird and wasted Uber. They had nobody to attack when they dropped it. It was a defensive one. It was a chance to stay alive, but nothing was able to be done with it. And MMR were just able to do the absolute solid job of ensuring that they didn't have a wasted Uber themselves, and did some destruction. Now we've got the almost exact same thing. We've got the same build up. Everybody's kind of moving in from the BC Connect. Kwa is sneaking around, looking to try and stake out the enemy's position. That information has hopefully been passed on to the other team, and maybe we're going to see a big push now.
Yeah, Tim Tom and Sis have both gone down here. Mats are actually running the crossbow, running the huntsman. He gets a headshot onto Null. So everyone's going to be a little bit wary of that. There is no Uber in the hands of Trum just yet. Poi hasn't had to use his Uber in order to get onto the C point. So it does look like a defensive Uber is going to come out here, but there is an Uber to counter with. MMR are taking the high ground, and actually the Spy have given up a lot of the high ground that they originally had. Tim Tom's going to drop down, clean up extra soda. He's going to be on the chase here. And oh my gosh, Hugo.
Poi get wiped out there. I think Null's last man standing, almost Vclox maybe is going to be showing them how it's done, or perhaps his corpse is just going to be showing them how it lies down.
Tim Tom got a 4K, but Hugo, I think, just killed 7 people in a Highlander game in one go. He still can look. Can he get more? He got another. Oh no, he didn't. Oh, extra solar. Kick him out the server. He stole the 8K from Hugo. Greedy.
I don't think Hugo's going to mind too much.
He's actually got a conch now as well, but that was all won by Hugo. He bombed it in. He managed to get the medic. He got the sniper. He got the demo. 3 of the biggest classes in Highlander.
I had totally given up on them getting that point altogether, and immediately.
Oh no! Extra solar in the pit.
No.
Oh, Honjo with the wrangle. That was such a good play. Hugo using the conch, it meant that everyone had all this speed and was able to launch themselves onto the point, but the wrangled sentry just decided to push everyone off the pit, off the point and into the pit. And this is now where we were before, Agro. This is exactly the same timing and position we were before, where, you know, MMR have this hold where they have their entire team playing up in this heaven area, and the Spy now have to try and think of a way to kind of get around it, and we'll have to see what they do. It does look like they're going to go for A, and they are going towards the D side. So yeah, you know, MMR here have to reposition. Yeah,
they've been rotating slowly for the last 5 minutes, and finally enacted on that decision to rotate round. I think that the Spy located their positioning as they moved on towards the D points, and maybe decided to force their hand as to where they were going to go. It looks like they're taking the D pretty solidly now, and who doesn't love to take the D?
I have no comment on that.
Absolutely.
I am a naive young man.
I have no idea what about either.
Do not poison my mind. I'm loving Salrio's position here with the sentry. The B ping might give it away, but the fact that he's covering a couple of different angles here, and if MMR aren't aware of how close it is, it will actually just force them away. And there we go. Buck gets caught out. He doesn't realize. And the Spy are getting ×2 on this point. Now I got ×4. It's going to be really difficult. Sis, is he going to get dropped? He does. And Trum has an Uber, but they're going to have to do a lot of work with this, man.
Well, they're in the right position. Oh, no. Retaliatively, Uber came out. I think that's going to be the last of Med we're going to be seeing for a little while. Oh my goodness me! Mutzer! That Mutzer, you demon, getting the taunt kill with the arrow. That's BM. That's just too much.
Oh no. You hate to see. Well, I mean,
Well,
we love to see it, but you know.
don't want to be on the receiving end of that shot.
Yeah, as Anasa says in the chat, out-memed. Definitely out-memed. 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Not to kind of rub salt in the wound, but you know, if the Spy had just done that in the previous round, then they would have won that first round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So an improvement has been seen. The difference is, can MMR evolve their attack to be able to beat this time? And I just want to point something out here, because we're talking about these teams both being on 0 points at the start of the game. Okay, they're both sort of. This is like almost a dead rubber, but it's all about pride. Interesting fact about these two teams: of all the teams in Premiership this season, they are the only two teams to have taken points. Sorry, not taken points. Taken a round off of SDCK.
Oh, okay.
The team currently top.
Yeah. So it's not like they're both useless teams. They're actually like they're both. It's like the crazy Joker. It's like of the pack. You know, the team that you can't quite understand. They're all doing something interesting and different, and invariably it doesn't pan out for them. But for classical teams that sort of almost play by rote, there's no way of countering these guys.
Yeah, they're just. Just the Joker card. Yeah, they just roll the dice and see what happens. And Matza is no longer on the. Was it Matza? Or who was on? No, it was Matza was on the crossbow, wasn't he?
He was on the bow of easy wins.
Yes, he was. Yeah, I was. Oh my god! So I was watching James, but it says disguised as Matza. I got confused, thinking he was Matza. And okay. You guys can't.
That's the Spy thing, though, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, they actually made me fall for it. I've actually fallen for the name disguise. Okay, so MMR here are actually deciding to go for what looks like an AE push here. Agro. They're taking the White Room and they're actually trying to lock down the BC connector.
It's a bold move. Mats has just gone down as well, so I mean, I can't see this working out for them.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Like, the Spy have done a very good job here. They've done exactly what you need to do. Get certain players into the right positions. I'm just looking at Honjo and Timtum, actually. And Joseph does a good job in taking them down with the stickies. Honjo does have a sentry. Quire is actually going to rumble him out and takes him down just before the taunt. Hugo trades his life to take down the sentry.
That's a worthy trade.
It's a worthy trade. But there is an Uber being used on B, and the Spy haven't had to use theirs yet.
Well, it's a weird thing now, and it's not ridiculously fast time, 6.5 minutes. It's a good time, though. It's a bold time, and it should have forced them to do the AE, or at least to push progressively on from A to B to C to E, possibly. But with that in place, with the AE track not initially working, they're going to have to do a B now. And that's just a whole bunch of time that's been wasted.
Yeah, I mean, they Ubered in there, and the only reason they Ubered was because there was a sentry, and the counter Uber came in, and V-Clock's jetpacked in, and Joseph just piped everything, and everything just died, including the medic. So they do have a small advantage here on Poi, but they are getting spammed out slowly. And I think MMR may be able to take this just edging forward. Null is actually on the medic, but doesn't manage to get the kill. It's kind of like it's worth a go, but it's a little bit of a weird B push there where they used the Uber really early on when there was no need for them to do it. They could have just spammed the sentry out, got some coordination going on there, but they do have a bit of an advantage. 15-20%, not huge in terms of Highlander. Trying to go through this BC connector now, and this is going to be the important point. I feel this is going to be the make or break for both of these teams. If the Spy are able to hold on to this. This could be a round win for them, and they can get their points on the board for the season. But if MMR are able to kind of get a really good push here, then it could all go differently.
It looks like everybody's pushing in from B through to C. The Uber's been popped already without actually having a clear target in mind. Maybe this will pay off for them, though. Counter Uber coming out of this alternative team at exactly the right time to actually get some kills in. V-Clocks is still alive.
Null! Is this season 7 null that I'm witnessing right now? He gets his revolver out and takes down 3 people. He was always known for his revolver aim. And despite that going absolutely terribly for the spy, the spy for the spy manages to clean up with the kills. MMR still are in control of the C point here, Agro, but V-Clock's just eating Buck away from the cliff, saying, no, go away. No, I don't want you there anymore. And it's kind of stalemating.
I really hope that sometime or other the teams of the future don't choose names that are awkward to say, impossible to read, or just sound exactly like something else.
Actually, oh my gosh, James!
Trump goes down immediately to the sniper rifle of James. That was glorious to witness.
I mean, I would defend this right now. My call would be, hey, we can block this C point. We've got the heals, but I don't think they want to without Joseph. Joseph, the demo, is dead. So they're giving it up. And maybe this is actually the smart choice. They're just saying we don't want to risk something going wrong, you know, an odd reflex rocket or something. And Trump actually goes down to Hugo. Huge play from Hugo. James takes down Buck. Hugo also takes down Tim Tum. Hugo is having a huge round. This second round has all been in his name. 1 minute and 20, and it's just like we said earlier in the previous round, Agro. 30 seconds-ish on the clock for them to get some bodies on that point before it's all over.
Yeah, the timing is completely off for them. They've got to build up 80% of the Uber in just this short time. They've got to get people out there. They've got to be super disruptive. And then, go and take it.
Py got taken down there by Massacre. He's not running the crossbow. James taking down Honjo. He's on a 4 kill streak right now.
Looks like all of the action is on this E point right now. All of the effort needs to be going on and focused on that E point. I'm seeing a bit of Spy sneaking in there. Maybe Null's going to be the hero of the match. I don't know. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that something exciting is going to come out of this. And it does. Well, we've got we've got a Daring Man down for it, so a bit of payoff, but not really enough. Is there going to be anyone contending this E point? All of the effort is going into holding it. Psycho goes up, tries to get a stab on, gets a face stab. It counts. A lot of bodies getting thrown into the pit there. V-Clocks, I don't know whether he got them himself or whether people just decided to sod it and go jump in a liver. Now
it's so close.
Only Matza.
2 seconds. Oh no!
They've got it?
They got it with 1 second left on the clock.
This is a ridiculous turnaround. I'm stunned. For the first time in not particularly long period of time, I have no words for this.
Everyone, not even joking. I actually feel bad for some of the players on the Spy because they were throwing like their souls onto that point. Like they were defending it so valiantly. Then Hugo, I thought, had done enough there, and it was so close. Like 1 second left on the clock. They just needed someone to touch it, just stall it for that 1 second. We would have seen a third round here.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That seems inconceivable. A stunning round, a stunning map, and a stunning match to finish our coverage of this season.
I mean, for 2019, yeah, there is this was the final match of the regular season. That does mean, unfortunately, the Spy will finish bottom of the table with no points.
Nil point.
Nil point. And MMR taking both rounds means they get 6 points, and they'll be finishing 5th in the table. Their first victory, their first points of the season. I mean, hopefully we got some combined logs because I'm calling Hugo at the top, right? Because that second round alone, he just had like, I don't know, is it past the watershed? I mean, he had big dick energy all across the map, Agro. That's all I'm saying. Like he was just everywhere, and I honestly thought that was gonna get them through here. But there were some huge plays. I mean, there were a lot of drops, and I'm not calling out the medics here for 1 second. I know how hard it is on this map, but the snipers were getting these clutch shots over and over again. And if it wasn't for the fact that the snipers were getting those picks at the end there, Matza got one onto Py very late on in the game that probably turned the tide. The fact that they didn't have the charge trying to defend that E point.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of players played well, but sometimes it's less than a second.
Yeah, I really think that there was just an immense effort went into trying to lock down that point, but it didn't actually work out for them. Maybe have a quick look at the logs since we have them up now.
I love numbers, Agro. You know that.
I'm not aware of that, but if you tell me it's true, I'm not going to argue with you.
Buck actually top fragging with 31 kills in 30 minutes. 31 kills, 19 assists, and 13 deaths.
I didn't see that. I mean, I
No.
saw Buck playing a role in it. I definitely didn't see him getting top frags, though.
No. I mean, I guess he was just doing stuff, you know. I mean, you take a look at the other people at the top. These are the kind of people you'd expect. The soldiers, the demo. I mean, both soldiers. Tim Tum doing actually getting slightly more damage than Hugo and getting the same amount of kills overall. Joseph getting a lot of damage, but Deli actually hitting over 500 DPM, getting a couple of less kills, but still around there. Both snipers, 23 kills apiece. Both of them did very well. But Buck with the top frag, not dying very much as well. Must just have been in a lot of those exchanges that they were having, and he was just there cleaning up the kills. But yeah, I mean, Heavy's not a class you traditionally think is going to stand out on a map like Steel.
No, not a particularly fast-moving class. This map is all about movement. It's all about getting to the right place at the right time. But those sights, those angles for sniper, they exist. The casual observer is going to run right past an opportunity for sniping, but if you know where to look and you know where to point your weapon, you can get in some really deep cuts. And it looks like the sniper played just a magnificent role in this, as we saw immediately during that period where MMR just pulled back because their sniper was down. I hadn't even conceived of the difference that a good sniper made. One thing I do want to point out, Vclox, you demon, you master, but not according to these logs. You are out damaged, out killed by Qua. What? Why? How? What? Do I know nothing about Highlander? Maybe it's true. Maybe I just don't know anything.
I mean, I think credit has to go to Sis for his role on Pyro today, because a lot of the counter Ubers that were coming in from MMR were with him being the lead, and that is something you want to see on Steel. Like, even traditionally before, pre-Jungle Inferno, Pyro was one of the better classes on Steel, just because tight corners, harder for spies to get around. You could push people in the pit. You got everything you could want. But now post Jungle Inferno, generally we do see a lot of Pyro Ubers, but Sis was doing a hell of a lot with those Ubers. It wasn't just a case of, all right, let's go in and just, set fire to stuff. He was going in and he was actually getting work done. So probably just, the way the team were playing around him with those Ubers worked out very, very well for them. That was probably a big reason as to why they won today.
Well, you mentioned as well that there were a lot of drops. Looking at these logs, Poi, 3 drops. That's pretty dramatic. Yeah.
I mean, it happens. I think one of them was to a sticky trap. One of them was to the jump in by Tim Tum that we saw, where he hit the 2 rockets, and I think Poi was on like 1 HP and was, you can have those moments as a medic where you kind of look and you think, okay, if he hits me with a rocket, I'm going to die, but I'm hoping that my teammates can kill him, and they didn't kill him, and he ends up dropping from that. And then the last one, I think, was from the sniper. I think it was from Matza, hitting that body shot. And I do think the drop onto Trum, correct me if I'm wrong, was one of the kills that James got onto him, because looking at the medic kills, actually, James got 6. So he was actually the top medic killer of that best of 3.
I fear the demon player that can ever correct you, CeeJaey. It's certainly not me.
But as you said it, Agro, that is the end of our coverage of the regular season. Season 20 is now over for these gentlemen who've just played in this game. MMR and the Spy will play no longer in this season. Neither will Kitty, who finished just above them in 4th place. But there are 3 teams in the Premiership division who did actually ensure that season 20 for them will run on to 2020. They'll be into the playoffs. Envision are the 3rd seed, losing out 4-2 in their Steel match, in week 5 to Failer Esports, who will be taking the 2nd seeded spot. So Failer Esports will be playing Envision in the semi-finals sometime in January 2020, and the winner of that goes on to play SDCK in the grand final a week or so after that. Of course, there will be other divisions who have their respective playoffs as well, which we will try to cover, I'm sure, if we can find the bodies and the production to do so. But I mean, some tasty games ahead, Agro. It's not over. We've just had like the aperitif, the starter, and now we're going to be heading into the main course.
Yeah, in fact, we've got a bit of coverage coming up across the mighty sea, since we now have some beautiful people covering a bit of the Australian stuff on this channel. So you'll be going into the end of 2019 with a bit of extraordinary games to be watching, and 2020, when it kicks off, will be absolutely mental. So do look forward to that as well.
Absolutely, I can't wait. And as always, it's been a pleasure casting with you, Agro.
It's been a joy. I think we should give a shout out to ArchRhythm, who did a wonderful job doing production on this one. So thank you very much, sir, to that.
Absolutely. We will see you when there's going to be a cast soon. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care. GG.
Hi-oh, Beaver! Away!